Rope, or the cantankerous lover, French, Le Misanthrope ou la Travelère amoureux, French pronunciation, El Mistype ou l'Atabile amoureux, is a 17th-century comedy of manners in verse written by Molière. It was first performed on the 4th of June 1666 at the Théâtre du Palais Royal, Paris by the King's Players. Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, French pronunciation, Baptiste PKL, the 15th of January 1622, baptized. The 17th of February 1673, known by his stage name Molière, UK, Moliere, Mol, US, Moliere, Molière, French. ML was a French playwright, actor, and poet, widely regarded as one of the greatest writers in the French language and world literature. His extant works include comedies, farces, tragicomedies, comédie ballets, and more. His plays have been translated into every major living language and are performed at the Comédie Française more often than those of any other playwright today. His influence is such that the French language is often referred to as the language of Molière. The play satirizes the hypocrisies of French aristocratic society, but it also engages a more serious tone when pointing out the flaws that afflict all humans. The play differs from other farces of the time by employing dynamic characters like Alceste and Célimène as opposed to the flat caricatures of traditional social satire. It also differs from most of Molière's other works by focusing more on character development and nuances than on plot progression. The play, though not a commercial success in its time, survives as Molière's best-known work today. Because both Tartuffe and Don Juan, two of Molière's previous plays, had already been banned by the French government, Molière may have softened his ideas to make the play more socially acceptable. As a result, there is much ambiguity about whether the main character Alceste is intended as a hero for his uncompromising honesty, or as a quixotic fool. Molière has been the target of much criticism for the misanthrope over the years. The French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau claimed in his letter to M. de Lambert on Spectacles that it was Molière's best work, but hated that it made Alceste the butt of its humor. He believed the audience should support Alceste's high ideals rather than laugh at his misadventures. Summary. Much to the horror of his friends and companions, Alceste rejects la politesse, the social conventions of the 17th-century French ruelles, later called salons in the 18th century. His refusal to make nice makes him tremendously unpopular, and he laments his isolation in a world he sees as superficial and base, saying early in Act 1, "Mankind has grown so base, I mean to break with the whole human race." Despite his convictions, however, Alceste cannot help but love the coquette and playful Célimène, a consummate flirt whose wit and frivolity epitomize the courtly manners that Alceste despises. Though he constantly reprimands her, Célimène refuses to change, charging Alceste with being unfit for society because he hates humanity. Despite his sour reputation as the misanthrope, Alceste does have women pining for him, particularly the prudish Arsinoe and the honest Eliant. Though he acknowledges their superior virtues, his heart still lies with Célimène. His deep feelings for her primarily serve to counter his negative expressions about mankind, since the fact that he has such feelings includes him amongst those he so fiercely criticizes. When Alceste insults a sonnet written by the powerful noble Orant, he is called to stand trial. Refusing to dole out false compliments, he is charged and humiliated, and resolves on self-imposed exile. Arsinoe, in trying to win his affections, shows him a love letter Célimène wrote to another suitor. He discovers that Célimène has been leading him on. She has written identical love letters to numerous suitors, including to Orant, and broken her vow to favor him above all others. He gives her an ultimatum: he will forgive her and marry her if she runs away with him to exile. Célimène refuses, believing herself too young and beautiful to leave society and all her suitors behind. Philinte, for his part, becomes betrothed to Eliant. Alceste then decides to exile himself from society, and the play ends with Philinte and Eliant running off to convince him to return. Alceste, Arige, Molière. The protagonist and misanthrope of the title. He is quick to criticize the flaws of everyone around him, including himself. He cannot help but love Célimène though he loathes her behavior. Célimène, Arige, Armand Béjart Molière. A young woman who escorted by Alceste, Orant, Acaste, and Clatandre. She is playful and flirtatious, and likes to point out the flaws of everyone she meets behind their backs. Célimène pays much attention to social appearances. Philint, a ridge, Lagrange. Appolite man who genuinely cares for Alceste, and recognizes the importance of occasionally veiling one's true opinions in a social context. He is mainly thought of as Alceste's foil. Acast, a ridge, André Hubert. A young, pompous marquis who believes he is deserving of Céliméne's love. Orant, a ridge, Du Quasi. An outgoing, seemingly confident man who also loves Célimène for a time. His insecurity is revealed when he is unable to handle Alceste's criticism of his love sonnet. Arsinoe, a ridge, Mlle de Brie. A highly moralistic older woman who is jealous of the attentions which Alceste pours onto Célimène. Eliant, a ridge, Mlle du Parc. Love interest to Philint and cousin to Célimène, who initially pines for Alceste. She possesses a good balance between societal conformity and individual expression. Clatandre, a ridge, La Thorelier. Another marquis who attempts to woo Célimène and win her love, and enjoys gossiping with her about notable social figures. Basque. Célimène's loyal manservant. Dubois, a ridge, Louis Béjart. Alceste's farcically blundering manservant. Garde, a ridge, Mr. de Brie. A messenger of the marshals of France who asks Alceste to answer for his criticism of Orante's poetry.